And in my my LinkedIn message that I put in for my 1 year little reflections the other day, I said one of the first things I learned is that faith says yes without knowing all the details. So a lot of people get stuck and they don't take the leap because they're so worried about knowing everything that's going to come and having everything perfect. You're never going to have everything perfect. You do not control all the variables in business or in life. The other variables often being people. You don't control.
You can't control them.
No, you can't. You can't control the market. You can control your effort, your energy, your preparation, right? And so I wouldn't say leap in without having done some preparation, but I would say know that sometimes it's time to press send, and it's never going to be perfect. You just got to do it.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Faith Ignite podcast. We're so excited you decided to join us for today's episode. And we have a really, really important guest with us today, and I'm going to do an introduction here in a little bit. But before we jump into that, hey, I just want to ask you, if you're new here, I would ask that you consider subscribing, hitting the like button, turn that notification bell on so you are aware when new episodes are released, and you can encourage and build your faith up each and every time. And hey, if you want to take your faith just one step further, you can become a financial partner of this ministry. You can follow the link below. It'll take you to our website, and you can partner with us there. And then lastly, hey, if God's doing something in your life, we would love to know about it. You can drop a comment below, and we would love to read, hey, what God's doing in your life and be able to celebrate and encourage you in that. And so if any of those things in this episode resonate with you, I would encourage you to do those things so that way we can stay connected. And like I said in the beginning, we have a really, really important guest. We've been trying to do this episode for a hot minute now, so we finally got some time to be able to get it done. But our guest, she is a native of Oklahoma, Moore, Oklahoma to be exact. She went to the University of Tulsa and then on to Oklahoma State to get her master's. And then since then, she's always been in the business world, from the CEO of the Department of Commerce for Jinx. And then now she serves as an executive director for the state of Oklahoma in the Department of Commerce. And I know I'm jumping over a bunch of things and missing a lot of it out, but I promise we'll get to it. She's an entrepreneur, an innovator, a dynamic leader. And so I won't steal all of her thunder. I'll let her introduce herself. But without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome Mrs. Heather Turner.
Well, thank you so much. You did a great job. I feel like
I tried to memorize
by memory, very well done. Yeah.
So, Heather, one way we love to start any episode, who do we have the pleasure of sitting with?
A child of God, first of all. I mean, that is, if you know the song, I'm a child of God.
Yeah.
And it's really who I am first and foremost. And I mean that. It's not just a song to me or a phrase that's easy to memorize, but truly a child of God. And he's been so faithful in and throughout my life. I'm a wife. Yeah. I'm a mother, a sister, a daughter, and a friend, and a native Oklahoman, a proud Oklahoman, very happy that I get to serve in this capacity. Yeah. If you would have asked me even 5 years ago, 4 years ago, 3 years ago, if I'd be doing what I'm doing right now, I would not have seen this coming. Yeah. So God is so good. He's so creative, and he's so faithful. And so I'm excited. I am an entrepreneur. I love building business and helping others build their businesses and find ways to grow and expand their impact and influence. In a way that honors God and honors who they're called to be. And so I've gotten to do that in a few different ways over the years. And so I'm happy to be here with you today and excited for this conversation. The question, who are you? Gosh, that's such a big, that's a loaded one. That's a loaded question. But yeah, first and foremost, a child of God. And then I just try to honor who he's called me to be with the different hats that I wear. Yeah. Just like everyone's complex. Yeah. Everyone wears a lot of different hats. And so no matter what hat I have on, I'm try to honor him, try to honor the people that I'm serving, and then honor the calling that I have in my life.
Wow. So we're going to find our way through this episode. We're going to navigate a lot of things, but as I was reading or trying to memorize your bio, so high school sweetheart, you married your high school sweetheart.
Yes, I did.
Okay. So I love a good love story. So tell me, how did that happen? Yeah.
Well, so John and I went to Moore High School together. Okay. His sister was a grade above me, and he was actually a grade below me. He's actually 9 months younger than me, and he loves to remind me about that. And he just enjoys it so much. But anyway, when we were, I would think I was 16 or 17, and he was 16, right around that age. We
Yeah.
were in 9th and 10th grade. He wrote in my yearbook, "You're my dream girl, and I'll marry you someday."
Really?
Yes, and this was bold because I had another boyfriend.
Okay.
And he told my boyfriend at the
Wait,
time.
he told him?
He told my boyfriend, "If you ever lose her, you'll never get her back." And that is, John was very bold and very persistent. And
I like
so,
it.
yes, it's done well for him over the lifetime. So anyway, we started dating. His family actually moved to Tulsa. His dad worked
Okay.
for Williams. And I was like, no, I'm not dating. I'm going to, after I had my little breakup with my other boyfriend, I'm not going to date because I wanted to focus on college. Where am I
Okay.
going to go to school?
Yeah.
Very academic focused, very goal oriented type of gal.
Yeah.
And so he kept pursuing me anyway, though. And his parents actually moved to Tulsa, to Jinx, Oklahoma. His dad got a job at Williams. And his dad moved here first. His sister stayed and graduated. Long story short, he moved and actually finished school out at Jinx.
Okay.
While I was auditioning for scholarships.
Okay.
And TU was actually my top pick. It's a beautiful school. It's a private school, and it was known as a conservatory of music at the time. And but it was very expensive, just like it kind of is right now. It's a private school. And it was kind of one of those, there's no way this will happen, but it was in my journal as a wish and a prayer, and I went, my vocal teacher helped me prepare for auditions there. And that's the scholarship opportunity. That's what brought me to Tulsa. And he just already happened to be here.
Wow.
How convenient.
I know,
and
right?
so, and my sister is already here. And so I was able to live with my sister to save some dollars and then go to school at University of Tulsa. And the rest is history. So we started dating at the end of my senior year, once I knew where I was coming, which was at the end of his junior year in 1999. Wow. I think we went to a banquet maybe in February, and first kiss was June 20th.
Oh, you remember the date?
Oh, of course. We have a kiss anniversary, 100%. So, so kiss anniversary was June 20th, 1999, and we've been best friends and, together ever since. So we got married in 2001.
Okay.
Right?
Well, that's like
2002. What is this? Yeah, 2002. Because 23 years. So this was our Jordan years. We got matching Jordan Nikes.
Yeah. Oh,
that was
so
our
cool.
Yeah. And so we've been married 23 years, and so thankful. He's my best friend, and I always tell people, like, after following Jesus, most important decision is who you're going to spend your life with, because either they're going to, duplicate and compound your impact and what you can do together. And, or maybe if they're not the right fit, or if they have some insecurities or whatever, they're going to hold you back from being all that God called you to be. And I can say that John has been such a great supporter, and we are of each other, and we like to see each other just hopefully be all that we can be to fulfill who God has called us to be as individuals and collectively. And so he's been such a great support, and that's, when you think about a best friend, you think of someone who's your greatest cheerleader and also challenges you, to be your best self. So I'm so thankful for him.
Well, thank you, John. I mean, it was kind of bold, but you stuck to your guns and you did get her. So
that's right.
Job well done.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you mentioned something about being a love of music, and something else I didn't read in your bio, but so Anthem Road Academy.
Yes.
So tell me how that business got started.
Okay, so of course came here to go to University of Tulsa, got a vocal performance and music education degree. Okay. And so started teaching public school music.
Wait, so you can sing?
Well, that's how I paid for school. I'll just leave it there. That did pay for my school, so I'm thankful for that. And my mom was a church choir director growing up. Okay. And that's kind of how I got into it. So even as a young girl, when we were in the car, it was, Heather hop on the tenor part, Heather hop on the alto part. We weren't really allowed to sing melody. They wanted to train your ear to sing harmony. And so started singing pretty young in church. And then, of course, I had a school counselor who said, "What are you going to do for school?" And that's kind of what led me to say I want to do music, but I needed formal lessons to be able to do that. And my teacher who she referred me to, Karen Smith Pearson, was just an angel because she really helped prepare me. And we couldn't have afforded. My mother worked in the school cafeteria. My dad was a butcher. Yeah. And I'm the first one in my immediate family to go through college. Yeah. And so it was one of those things. They were supportive, but they didn't have the finances. And so that's what paid for my school. Mm-hmm. And so anyway, was happy to go into that profession, taught public school music for 7 years. Okay. First at Mounds. I don't know if people know where that is, but it's very south of Tulsa. And then at Bixby Public Schools. Okay. And I loved it. I built programs and, high school choir, middle school choir, then elementary music and choir, circled the state with song, all of the different competitions and all of that kind of stuff. Honor choirs and theater and all of that. Yeah. But I just wanted more flexibility in my schedule once I had 2 sons, so Aiden and Mason, who are now 18 and almost 17. They're a year and a half apart. Yes. So I really wanted to keep doing something I loved, but have more flexibility and autonomy to choose my schedule. And so I was teaching piano and voice lessons after school to about 19 students. And so I felt for about a year I was supposed to try this, but I was scared, because you have, even though it wasn't a high salary, it's still a salary that you can count on. I was tenured. Security, full benefits and things like that. And people were like, why? Even people who love me are like, no, why would you give that up? What are you thinking? The teacher that was there before me was there for 35 years. If you're in a good school district in a music position, you usually don't leave. There's only one music teacher each site usually. So it's kind of hard to get in those school districts. So I was well funded, and we had built a keyboard lab. We had built a budget. We had very integrated into the Bixby community. And so I had this tug on my heart to do this, but it was a little bit scary. And so actually, when I first talked to my husband about it, to John, he was like, I don't know, because we needed the money too. Yeah. We didn't have a lot of money at the time. And so I actually just prayed, God, put it on his heart. I'm not going to try to convince him. I'm not going to beg and plead or say, let's do it. And, and then if it fails, he'll resent me or something. Yeah. So honestly, that was my prayer. And a few months later, on the way home one day, John called me and he was like, let's just do it. I'm all in. Wow. And so then it was his idea. Great. It was really God's idea. But, we let him take credit for that. And so we went down Main Street Jinx. Yeah. And so at first I started teaching in people's homes, and they came to my home. And I found out really fast that's not super efficient because most people don't have a dedicated music room. Right. And so there are lots of distractions and people in and out. Yeah. Say they have a piano in their living room, but so is the TV, and it's also attached to the kitchen, and people are in and out, So the students also were not as likely to let their guard down and make mistakes when there's a lot of people coming in and out. Whereas in a private studio room, you can actually really help them kind of overcome the obstacles that they have and grow. So I learned that. And then in my home, I did have a dedicated music room, but I had 2 toddlers who kept coming. And so I was like, this isn't the most professional either. Yeah. So that's when we went down Main Street Jinx. There was not a music school in Jinx at the time at all. Wow. And so I just saw a space in the market, knew that the demographics could support it. But my question was, will my students come with me if I have to pay a little more because now I have overhead? Yeah. And so all of them said yes. And so that's really how it happened is I had to stop doing something I love. In Life Church, Craig Rochelle says, we give up things that we love or good things for great things. We give up things that we love for things that we love even more. And that's truly what it was. It was not an easy decision because I did love my students. I love the community, but I loved my children more. Yeah. And I wanted to have the chance to go to all of their little school parties and be the mystery reader in kindergarten class. And we did Trojans for Christ for years. I led worship for that. And just things that I wouldn't have had the flexibility to do. Yeah. And so I have zero regrets about that. It's been such an incredible blessing. So we opened Anthem Road Academy in 2011, just a few months after my last month at teaching at Bixby Public Schools, and started with 19 students. And within that first year, over 100 students, and brought on new teachers for other. So I taught piano and voice. We brought on instrumentalists were guitar and bass and drums. And then it grew from there, violin and cello and woodwinds. And so it just kind of went on from there. And so then a few years later, we were kind of at capacity and had a waiting list. And so I pulled all of our students and said, where are you coming to me from? What would I do? One larger, or should we have multiple locations? And kind of saw where everyone was coming from and realized, I'm a mom. I'd rather have a short drive if I'm bringing my kid to an activity every week, not have to drive further. And a lot were driving to us from Bixby. And so we said, if we open a Bixby location, will you move there with us? And a good group of them said yes. And so we scared, can we duplicate our processes and systems and culture and training and just all of the things? Yeah. Can we hire enough to staff this new location? Can we afford a second location? Yeah. Can we market it? All of the things. And so it was another step of faith, So we moved downtown Bixby to try it. Downtown at that time was a little less expensive than Memorial location where we are now. Yeah. So to try small, let's just start. There was a place that we could lease out that already had some offices built out. So not super high cost of entry. And it gave us the chance to build those systems and processes and get everything in the cloud and get some of that training and development, all of those things that are needed to scale. So that really helped us. We did that. That was tough, but it taught us a lot. We grew, and then they decided to do a redevelopment project. And during that time, I started doing some economic development consulting for the city of Bixby, and this will all tie into where I'm at now.
Yeah, how it gets there.
Yeah, so because at Jinx location, we had all kinds of community festivals and events to be part of, which our motto for Anthem Road Academy is student-focused, community-driven. The student-focused means that we really tailor our lessons to the needs, the goals, the challenges, and the strengths of the student. We don't teach everyone the same curriculum, the exact same method. We really try to adapt what we teach and how we teach to those needs and goals of the student. And then the community-driven is very intentional, that we are not just asking for people to come and do business with us, but we want to contribute intentionally into the communities. And so we had lots of opportunities to do that with Jinx. And we just didn't see as many opportunities with Bixby at the time. They had built a new amphitheater, but it sat empty. And so I just I put a plan together, made a proposal to City Council for the city of Bixby to build programming and to bring in activities and food trucks and music and movies in the park and concerts in the park and different things. And that's how I got started in economic development, was actually just to give equitable opportunity to both locations, because one had way more opportunity than the other. And so that's really how it got started. And when I made the proposal, I actually told the city manager I'll do it for free. And he said, no, you won't. And I was like, I will though. This is not, and he was like, no. And so that's kind of how I got my first contract, and then it was successful. And then I think I did that for six years consecutively or something like that. So then we ended up moving that location to Memorial, which is where it is now at 107th Memorial. That was very much more expensive rent. It's right by,
Costco and
Tacos for Life and all the stuff, it's right there. So that was a big step. But because we had already had the systems and processes in place, we had the culture, we had the teachers, we had, then when we moved, very easy move. And actually we grew substantially within the first 5-6 months, more than doubled.
Amen.
Our student. And so then another couple of years went by, and then the same thing kind of happened. We opened Broken Arrow the end of 2019. That was a tough year to open because we went right into COVID and all that community involvement, all of those things were a little bit different. School involvement, engagement, because of COVID. And so we had to learn how to kind of do things differently. We went hybrid for a while. Then because we went hybrid, we started teaching people from other states, and that kind of expanded some influence there. But then we went back in person, and then now we still have the in-person or hybrid option for families. And so there's just a lot of benefits that we learned through that. But throughout that process, I learned, this is the city folks that you work with. This is the city council of each of these communities. This is what it looks like to get permitting for these communities. This is who's involved and engaged with community development, who's in the tourism department, and so I just really started learning just by being on the business side of it. And that's really kind of in that same time, I got engaged with the Jinx Schools Foundation. So I started to serve on that board. As public relations chair, and then as business development chair, and then as vice president, and then as president. So that gets you very engaged with civically on the school side of things. You kind of learn a lot about what's going on in that side of the world. And then I was also getting engaged with the Jinx Chamber of Commerce and the Bixby Chamber of Commerce and the Broken Arrow Chamber of Commerce. I served on the board for the Jinx Chamber. And then as the chair of the board for 2020, when we went through all of 2020, yay, what a year. And so you really started to see the impact on businesses and how can we help them. And then in 2022, I guess it was, the former president and CEO of the Jinx Chamber called me and said, hey, let's go to lunch. And he let me know he's going to be moving on to another role in Broken Arrow at the time. And so I went home and talked to my husband about it, and he said, oh, Heather, you got to do it. And I was like, people will think I'm crazy. I own a business. It has, and he was like, at that point I had gone back to school. So I went to OSU to pursue my MBA. People, again, were like, why? You don't need an MBA. You already have a business. And I wanted to learn from different industry leaders. I crave learning. It's my love language. I crave it. So I read a lot. I write. I skipped in there, but I wrote a book. It published in 2018. Dream Traders. There's a student curriculum that has been used in several schools around the Tulsa region and in Union Public Schools and Bixby Public Schools and Jinx and Metro. And so we created a curriculum. We sent a team of teachers to Ghana, Africa with it. We have a Ghanaian Common English version that has some changes that we let their curriculum directors do. And so we've really kind of gotten, you kind of got involved with all these communities, and you're just kind of engaged, and you realize that everyone has common questions. They have common struggles, whether you're a large business or a small business. Everybody was impacted by COVID, for example, and they had to figure out how to adapt to the changing market and economy. And so I just kind of got engaged in that. Once I took on the president CEO role of the chamber, looked at all those contracts that they had with the city for economic development, for community development, for tourism, for marketing and promotion, and just kind of redesign those just like I would if it was my own business. And that's truly my goal, was just to treat this just like it's my own business. And I did. And we grew revenue substantially. We grew membership and programs. And of course, we grew our contract with the city so that we could serve everyone better. And so that was a blessing. And then that kind of brings us to about a year and a couple months ago, I guess, when I got a call from a friend of mine who said, hey, I put your name in the hat for something. And I was like, what? And she said, well, I didn't ask you first, but your name came to my mind and one other person. And I think you should take the call if you get it. I don't know if you'll get the call, but the governor's looking for a director of commerce. And I put your name in the hat. And I was like, oh, okay, what's going on with that? And the very next day, I got a call from the governor's headhunter who said, hey, I need to ask you if you consider this. And you need to talk to your husband about it, because it'll be a sacrifice for your family. And so I said, well, tell me a little bit about it. He gave me a little bit of information. There was a lot happening legislatively at the time to change commerce. And so really the story about this, the faith where it comes in is and one of the things I just shared just a couple of days ago on my LinkedIn is that looking over the last year, July 8th ended up being my first official full-time day in this role that I'm serving. And I'm a deputy CEO, and I'm executive director of CORE, which is Community Development, Outreach, Revitalization, and Enterprise. It's very long for the State Department of Commerce for Oklahoma. But it started out as Director of Commerce. Commerce, during that legislative session, was being changed by the legislature to become 2 divisions instead of just 1. And so in that, CORE was created the last day of session, which was the very last day of May. But I was appointed like the end of April. And so when I said yes, it's different than what I first said yes to. And the other thing is that once that happened and I didn't get a hearing, you get appointed by the governor, then you get a confirmation hearing by the Senate. I didn't get a confirmation hearing. They were changing it. And so I thought, okay, it's all done. Now I'm not going to I'll just continue being the president CEO of the Jinx Chamber, which is great. I was happy. I wasn't like looking for the role. I went through an interview process and everything, but of course, like I didn't go looking for this and begging for this role, but I went through the interview process and, anyway, this all came about. And I had actually told my board, okay, nothing's going to change, because they said, well, if you don't get confirmed, stay here. If you do get confirmed, then give us a notice so that we can find a replacement. But this is an honor, so they were wonderful. They were so supportive. Good. But I told them all, I called the board meeting. I didn't get a confirmation. Nothing's happening. Okay, we're all just going to move on with our lives. And about 2 weeks went by, and I got a call from the governor's chief of staff. And they said, so now that CORE and EDGE are created, what about CORE? And what is so cool about God is that within CORE is film and music. I get to be over film and music for the state. Wow, I love it. Are you kidding me? And then Main Street. My business started on Main Street. Yeah. We have 50 main streets that are part of that program across the state. There's something so very special about main streets in every community. It's just the heartbeat of these communities. And there's so much just heart and soul. I'm so passionate about it. I get to be over that. Okay. Small business and entrepreneurship is part of CORE. Okay. What? Enterprise and the economic development for expansion and retention of businesses that are already here in the state is really the focus of CORE. And then community development and revitalization efforts, infrastructure development efforts, building funding tools and mechanisms, which is what I spent some time doing in my role at the chamber, was building some incentive programs to help revitalize downtown. And so, okay, look at God. What are you talking about? So, so I obviously I said yes to that, called the board back. Hey, never mind, actually. And they were like, okay, so God has been so good. So now a year has gone by, and I've gotten to do some really incredible work with some beautiful people. I got to meet you. And just get the chance to spend a lot of time with communities all across the state and see, what they're doing. They take so much pride. It's so exciting and inspiring to see each community, how they want to show you around their town and show you what they're proud of, and then share the obstacles that they have. And so I get to help build tools with them to help overcome those obstacles. And God's just been so faithful. And then just this year, now they have created a board that went over commerce, and they have now confirmed a new CEO, and his name is John Budd. And I'm so thankful for him, and because the truth is, when you're building your own business, and as you know, you have this, sometimes it can feel heavy. Even though it's something you love, you can feel like, oh, I'm taking all this on, and you can forget to cast your burdens on Jesus. You're carrying them, you're carrying the weight. With this role, you can also feel like, wow, I'm covering a lot of different areas. And before he was here as deputy CEO, I was really also acting CEO, and there's a lot involved with that. And I'm very thankful and used to doing a lot of that work. I'm used to setting a strategic plan and a budget and all of these things. But having him on board, it's been cool to see God used that to lighten the load a little bit and to be able to enjoy your work, enjoy what you're doing, feel like you're fulfilling the calling that God has on your life and honoring this season and what that looks like in this season, because it doesn't look the same in every season. But being able to do it with a little lighter load has been a blessing as well. So God's good. We celebrated 1 year this past week.
Wow, that's such a blessing to see, like how you talk about how it comes full circle. You started doing one thing, and then now you're getting paid to do the same exact thing you started doing.
Isn't that so cool?
He was like, yeah, you thought you were getting out of this, but now you got full circle back again.
That's right.
It's just such a blessing. Yeah. So I have a bunch of questions.
Okay. I talked a long time. I'm sorry. That was a lot.
I got quite a bit of questions. Okay. So answer this. What would you tell that person? So stepping on business was that scary thing for you. Someone now, to start a business, you can go online, create a LLC within a matter of minutes. Yeah. So starting a business, it's on paper, it's not the hardest. But what would you tell, or what would you encourage that person who's like on the fence? Should I do this thing? Does this even make sense? Why would I leave this security and then go ahead and start this thing? What would you tell that person that's battling the in between of, do I step out and trust God? Do I step out and do this thing?
2 things. Number 1, is it a talent that you have, a passion? Yeah. Something you enjoy, a hobby? Or is it a marketable skill or a marketable product or service? So one of the first things I learned from Karen Smith Pearson, that vocal teacher, is she said, Heather, you've got raw talent, but what you need to get your school paid for is a marketable skill. Talent in and of itself is great, but it doesn't necessarily pay the bills. A hobby or a product that just you like can be awesome, but it doesn't mean it's a business unless you can market it and somebody wants to pay money for it. So ask yourself that question. If people will pay you money for that product, that service, then you have something that's a marketable product or skill that you can actually make a business out of. So that's just a practical, before you step out and say you're going to trust God or not trust God, ask God, is this, have a conversation with yourself and with the Lord and ask yourself, is someone willing to pay for this product or service? Yeah. And then I would say test the market. And so like my 19 students, first I just started out teaching after school, right? Will anybody pay for this service from me? Will anybody? you know? Yeah. Because if not, okay, let me try it in another way. Let me try it. Test, and figure out. And then if you've proven in a small scale, to a small degree that that you have a marketable product or skill, then that's when you have, okay, God, you're prompting me. It's scary. There's a risk involved, right? Yeah. I'm leaving some sense of security, but I've tested the market. I know that I have something of value that adds real value to other people's lives. It's not a get-rich-quick scheme that's just about serving myself, but it's truly about serving others and honoring my calling and the gifts that God's put in my hands to steward. Okay, if you can answer those, yes. It's not just about me, okay? It's honoring others because it's adding value to them in some way, and it's honoring who God has called me to be. Win. Okay, yes. Take the leap and bet, trust in him and bet on you. Like bet on who he's created you to be, bet on the time and effort and the energy that you've put in honing that talent into a marketable skill. And then God honors that. I mean, he honors faith, right? You can't please him without faith. Exactly. And so it takes faith. And in my my LinkedIn message that I put in for my 1 year little reflections the other day, I said one of the first things I learned is that Faith says yes without knowing all the details. So a lot of people get stuck and they don't take the leap because they're so worried about knowing everything that's going to come and having everything perfect. You're never going to have everything perfect. You do not control all the variables in business or in life. The other variables often being people. You don't control.
You can't control them.
No, you can't. You can't control the market. You can control your effort, your energy, your preparation, right? And so I wouldn't say leap in without having done some preparation, but I would say know that sometimes it's time to press send, and it's never going to be perfect. You just got to do it. But you need to put some time in. I mean, when I published a book in 2018, and I still find things that I want to make better.
Right.
All these years later. And that's just that reminder. At some point, what did God put on your heart? You're supposed to write a book. It's supposed to add value to someone. It's going to help someone's life. You're supposed to start a podcast. You can't control everyone in your audience. You can control what you got. And so you got to take that step and be obedient. But it's obedience over sacrifice, and obedience plus sacrifice. And one of the other lessons I'll say I learned is that you don't know what you're willing to sacrifice until you have something or someone worth sacrificing for. That's what I would tell my younger self. Because if you would have asked me, Heather, do you want to start your own business? And do you want to take care of everyone else before you take care of yourself? When I was really young, I'd be like, well, I think you pay yourself first, right? And there are lots of books about that. But my experience is I take care of my overhead first. I take care of my employees first. I take care of our students first. I take care of the business first, and then it takes care of you. But there's sacrifices involved in that.
Yep, there is.
And it's one of the ways, though, that I feel like my business has been able to sustain is because I didn't put myself first on the payroll. Because then when it was time to invest in the business, instead of invest in my personal bank account, I invested in the business, which helped me scale the business without any debt. And so then when we wanted to build another location, I could do that. And I wasn't like, oh, I've already spent that, on whatever but that took sacrifices. I mean, my first couple of years, we were cutting coupons and going to double coupon Wednesdays at Homeland. I mean,
do what you gotta do.
We were doing that every week. I had a whole folder of coupons. I mean, no shame.
You got to do.
That's right. So I was willing to do that so that I could put back into other people and back into community and back into business. And I think God honored that.
Yeah, absolutely. And as I think about it, like how faith and business work together, how they have the separation of church and state. Our relationship with God, I think, is central to how we conduct business.
100%.
And so, like, being in the role that you're in, I mean, through all the different promotions and twists and turns that you experience in your career, how does your faith reflect in what you do or your job? How does it reflect in your career path? What does it look like for you to be a modern day Christian, but in the workplace?
Well, it's the filter by which you make every decision. And the way that you approach relationships. There's a saying that if you have integrity, nothing else matters. If you don't have integrity, nothing else matters. And one of the things that I strive to do is to be the same Heather no matter what room I'm in. So if there's pressure to do something outside of integrity in one room versus another, still stand on integrity. Even if you're going to maybe lose a perceived opportunity, maybe, or whatever, to be willing to say, you know what, even if I have to, take a hit on this one from either a popularity contest or whatever that might look like, or getting an opportunity or something. I want to always approach with integrity. And so that's easier said than done. It's also easier said than done to be who you are no matter what room you're in, and stand for your same principles and values no matter what room you're in. And so I really strive to, those are truths that I strive to stand on, and just to show grace. I mean, what is a better reflection of Christ than showing grace and helping people who maybe sometimes don't understand or maybe even criticize. Just being consistent in professionalism and in faith and in love.
Yes.
Even if what the results are look inconsistent. You stay steady and consistent. You stay faithful.
That's good.
And you trust. You don't have to avenge yourself. God handles it. Like you got, and just again, it goes right back to that honor those that you're called to serve. So hopefully the decisions that you make, the intention is always to honor the other person. It's always to honor God and how you interact and approach business and relationships. And then it's always to honor who you're called to be, first as a child of God and as a representative also. And so always first, trying to represent him and then giving yourself and others grace when you fall short, because we're people. We're human. And knowing that other people are human too. Everyone comes with a certain set of lenses that they're looking at life through because of the experiences that they've had. And so to not expect someone else to look through life from my set of lenses, but understand that they have their own set of lenses and circumstances that have shaped the way that they see life and business and relationship. And so, staying true to who you are, but having grace for yourself and for others, and not being entitled. And I think one of the big things is I'm not entitled to everyone's regard or respect. Many people, when I came into this role, they didn't know me. That's okay. I'm not entitled to. I can work alongside them and over time earn that regard. But really, if I just take every day to honor what I'm asked to do and honor them, I feel good about that.
Yeah, that's one thing. My mentor, he's been hammering this home recently. He's like, one thing that people has lost is honor. Like if you honor people, they show honor to you, and it's something that. It's a trait that's unfortunately dying, where people don't honor each other. And I've seen when you honor people, God will honor you because you honor others. And so that's a blessing to see that. That's how you perceive every day you're going to honor those that you serve. So that's a blessing to see.
Well, thank you.
So one way we like to wrap up every episode. I mean, you already gave the advice to your younger self, but for someone that's listening on the other end of this podcast, if you could leave them with one piece of advice, what would that be?
One piece of advice. That's also a hard one. There's so many different things that I'm trying to think. What's one thing? I mean, a lot of people will say, don't give up. And I agree with that. But I think more importantly than just not giving up is one thing I try to do is take inventory of why you're doing the things that you're doing. And then what I like to do is say, what have I said yes to? Write it all down. What commitments have I made to people, to volunteering, to different business opportunities, to my time? What does it really look like versus what maybe my intentions were or whatever? I like to look at, what am I actually spending my time doing? Take good inventory of it. And then I'm kind of nerdy and teachery like this. I put it in color code it. But if you do this, you'll see what your life really is made up of. You'll see, I said I wanted a healthier marriage, or I said I wanted a relationship, but turns out I'm spending no time. There's no sticky notes in the color pink for me spending time with, building that relationship. All the sticky notes are blue or whatever for work. I did this with a dear friend of mine. And she was wanting a relationship. So this is, I know it's a piece of advice, but this is this is a really practical, you guys want something to do, go do this. We sat down at my kitchen table and she said she wanted to be in a relationship. And I said, let's look at your life. How much time are you spending at work? Okay. We put all those in one color. What time are you spending at church? And she's a worship leader. Okay. This much time. And you know this person. And then what time are you spending social What social time are you spending where you could even meet someone? Because she's in a high level in her job. She can't date anyone she works with. That would not be appropriate.
Yeah, not ethical.
She's on the platform at church, kind of intimidating, and she's not. And if you've been to South Tulsa Life Church, it's mostly families. There's not a lot of singles hanging around. So, and so we put it down and we realized, well, there's not any social cards on here. There's none. There's no pink stickies or whatever. Exactly, and so I said, okay, so what you want to align your activity with your intention. A lot of us have intentions of what we want, and then we feel disappointed we're not accomplishing it, but our activity doesn't actually line up with what we say we want. And so anyway, she started on a dating app, and she started to go on some dates, and a year later she got married in my backyard. Wow. And last month she adopted a child, and it's just the most beautiful story. Yes. And so align your activity with your intention. Take an inventory of your life to see if what you're actually, not what you intend to spend your time on, but what I found myself in was like, crap, I've said yes to so many things. I'm saying no by default to some things I really want. Yeah. And so I had to start being like, John and I had to be really intentional. My schedule is pretty insane, and I do a decent amount of travel. Yeah. So we had to say, okay, when is the most likely time for us to have a date? It's on Wednesday nights, actually, because we have high school students who have games on Friday nights and Saturdays. Yeah. When can we have time for each other? Okay, every Wednesday, it's a date night. And then sometimes we add in another couple so that we can build some couple relationships. And we make a list of, it's just like, because it's a priority. Yeah. And so if we want a healthy marriage, we got to invest in that. Yes. You want time with your kids, you got to put it on the calendar. You want to build that business, or you write that book, whatever that looks like. It's really just a practical thing. Dedicate that time and then take an inventory and see, oh, I've made this commitment. How long do I need to make this commitment? Should I serve on this board for ever, or I say I can serve for 2 years, and then I need to put my time into another bucket. So that's my advice. Wow. That's very, very actually good advice. I'm going to take you up on that offer. Okay, good. I want to see your sticky. That's right. That's right. Flying around the house like, this is pink, this is blue. That's right. No, that is definitely something that's practical but powerful, because you get to see like what your time is, what are you investing your time in? Yeah. And then as a result, you'll have that fruit in your life. Like, that's okay, you invested in this relationship, there'll be fruit in it. You hit the nail on the head. Yes. You'll see fruit in this. And so it's a blessing to see, like, yes, I had it conceptually, but now I have the practicality of how to do it and make it happen. So thank you for sharing that. I'm actually going to take that up. Good. Take you up on that. Yeah. So, I love it. Well, we're going to have to wrap this episode up, ladies and gentlemen. But Heather, thank you so much for stopping by, sharing some wisdom, and just to see, like, you took me on a journey from going to school to then becoming a music teacher, and then somehow getting involved with the city, which then opened the door for you to become what you're doing now. It's so cool to see what God has done in your life, and to see, like, when you goes back to the honor thing, when you honor God, how he honors you, and he's placed you in a position that he's created a story in you that no man can take credit for. Nobody knew that. That's so true. That you started teaching that your dream job would be to do what you're doing now. Nobody knew that. Never. Yeah. And so it's just a blessing to see how God has wrote this story for you, and to see that this is just a beautiful, like, there's so much more to be done, but just a blessing to see how he's done it, and to watch this whole masterpiece come together. Thank you. I feel the same way. Thank you so much for having me. This has been fantastic. I appreciate you. Absolutely. Well, ladies and gentlemen, like I said, we're going to have to wrap this episode up. But if any of this content has helped you, hey, I would encourage you to consider hitting the like button, hitting that subscribe button, turn the notification bell on so you are aware when new episodes are released. And like I said, if you want to take your faith just one step further, you can go ahead and follow the link below. It'll take you to our website, and you can become a financial partner of this ministry. And then lastly, if something is going on in your life, we would love to know about it. Go ahead and drop a comment below. We would love to celebrate what God's doing in your life. And so, like I said in the beginning, my name is Devon Williamson, and we're going to have to sign off for now. But until next time, this has been Faith Ignite. We'll see you guys next time.